What's up, YouTube? This is Wawa Echo. My name is Zach, and we're here for the Smackdown survey for the first Smackdown of 2018, January 2nd, 2018. And this was a pretty disappointing Smackdown as opposed to the Raw that was really good for the first of the year. And I guess we'll just shoot straight into it. Like I said, it was very disappointing, and honestly, I felt like not much was accomplished in this SmackDown. But we'll see as we go through. We start out SmackDown on what I thought was going to be a really good note because the WWE Champion AJ Styles came out to the ring. And when have I ever given AJ Styles a down? Well, it starts now, unfortunately. But it wasn't really because of him. He did come out there and he cut sort of this really short promo. He was kind of involved in the whole segment, but he kind of said just like a couple of things. And then Daniel Bryan came out, and before Daniel Bryan could say a word, Shane McMahon came out. And then Styles kind of stayed silent the rest of the segment. But anyway, so we get through, and Daniel Bryan is supposed to talk about everything that went on the last week. But then Shane McMahon obviously comes out and he's talking about how Daniel Bryan could have let Kevin Owens be at ringside or Sami Zayn be at ringside for the match between Styles and Owens, and it was just a bunch of stupid crap coming out of Shane's mouth, and then because Shane interjected and said that Sami Zayn or that he would be at ringside during the main event tonight, Bryan said, "Well, I guess then we can let Kevin Owens be at ringside," basically implying that he wasn't going to let Owens be at ringside. But then Shane McMahon opened his big fat stupid mouth, and that was really stupid of Shane. But then Daniel Bryan said because Shane is going to be at ringside, he gets to be at ringside too. And then you know what? The announcers are at ringside, so let's just add them in there. And then the audience is going to be at ringside too, and who knows? Jesus is going to be at ringside. But so this whole segment, I know what it's building to, and it's building the tension between Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon, but they're doing it all wrong because they're booking. It looks like they're booking Daniel Bryan to turn heel and be the heel, but really it's looking like Shane is. Like the way they're doing this, because if you go back all the way to when Shane McMahon was trying to screw Kevin Owens out of the U.S. title, and when it was deliberate, like it was obvious, deliberate attempt to screw him out of the U.S. title and all of his matches being the special guest referee and things like that. But then also at Clash of Champions, most recently, it was obviously an attempt to make them lose their jobs, and that's what Shane was wanting. And I get that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are heel, but these are very heel things to do. And honestly, like Daniel Bryan is in the mix, and especially at Clash of Champions, it looks like all he's trying to do is make it fair and make it sort of equal for everyone. And even Shane even said that tonight. Daniel Bryan made like some decision. I can't remember the exact one, but later on in the show, he made some decision, and Shane McMahon said, "Well, in the fairness of equality, since you have favoritism, I think that's completely stupid because Daniel Bryan's decision came with the idea of fairness and equality. So they're booking this whole thing wrong, in my opinion." But that's all using logic, and WWE has no logic. So I apologize for thinking logically. But however, this whole segment it gets it down because of just how they're booking everything, especially how this segment looked. Shane is just really annoying, and not just because he's an authority figure, but because he's putting himself where he doesn't belong, and everything it just looks really weird in what they're trying to do. And then again, they may swerve us, and Shane may actually be the one to turn heel, and Daniel Bryan stays face. I don't know. Daniel Bryan is also still super over, and I guess Shane is too. But I guess we'll see where it goes from here. But this segment was really disappointing. The first match of the night was for the WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Defending was the Usos against challengers Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable. And this match was very quick. I'd say 2 or 3 minutes in, probably a little more than that, probably like 5 minutes in. The match ended with Gable picking up the pinfall victory over one of the Usos. And then it was revealed that the two that were even in the ring and involved with the pinfall weren't even the legal men. And honestly, I think this was stupid, especially if you're going to have the Usos win the titles, the second time around because they restarted the match and the Usos won. And honestly, it was a pretty good match. I mean, it was still really really quick, and I'm kind of okay with this. Like, it's not enough to warrant an up for me. The match itself, I'll explain the rest of it altogether. But the reason why I wouldn't give the match an up itself is because. Like, I get why it had to be short because if you're going to be doing like matches later on between these two or these four, I guess technically, you want to have like you want to have fresh moves, fresh spots, and things like that. And this had its fair share of fresh spots, but it just, I don't know. It felt like um, everything was just, I feel like everything about this is also done wrong, because I don't feel like it should be Benjamin and Gable in the title picture, as I said last week with Rusev and English. But I'm not saying they're not talented because all four of these men are absolutely talented. They put on a good showing. But on to the main decision for this match. I'm going to give it a down. And the main part is you had an Uso take a legitimate, clean pinfall. And they've been built up for the past year and very dominant. You had them prove themselves as the most or the best tag team of all WWE at Survivor Series. You've had them take out the New Day over and over again. Of course, they did their fair share of losses, but ultimately they came out on top. And then within less than 5 minutes, they take a clean pinfall. That doesn't sit well with me, and I just I didn't get it. I'm kind of glad they took the titles, and I feel like for a championship match, this should have been bigger than what it was. But anyway, enough about that. It's this segment, everything about this match is getting it down for me. But then we go into another tag team match because Teddy Long is behind SmackDown for the past few weeks. Between the Bludgeon Brothers and Breezango, which never actually happened. So the Bludgeon Brothers came out, and Breezango were already in the ring, and they were showing clips from like the previous week's SmackDown. And while that segment was being played, the Bludgeon Brothers attacked Breezango and pretty much like killed him. And then the Ascension came out, and the Bludgeon Brothers killed them. And like this kind of I'm glad the match honestly didn't happen because the end result would be the same. Like, the Bludgeon Brothers would still kill Breezango just with the pinfall. But I kind of like this. It did keep the Bludgeon Brothers sort of in character and destroying everyone, not caring about the match, whatever. But I would like to eventually see someone be able to do some sort of offense against the Bludgeon Brothers, because I do feel like that would bring out sort of, which they look like monsters now, but it would bring out their characteristics of like, the opponent is attacking and actually getting some offense. So, like, I'm going to go harder, go stronger. But I did like how this was done, so I'm going to give this an up. And hopefully, this was the last we've seen of the Bludgeon Brothers versus Brizongo. I doubt it, but we'll see about that. The next match we're going to discuss is the semi or the quarterfinal, I guess, of the United States tournament or United States Championship tournament between Xavier Woods and Aiden English. And this match was really good. I enjoyed it. I still don't get why they had Xavier Woods, and I kind of get why they have English, but like over Rusev. Who either way, English and Rusev are very over. And I still kind of don't understand why, but it's hilarious. I mean, it's just Rusev Day. It's just so over. And it's good to see that the New Day is still over. So that made for a match that the crowd was really involved, really committed to, and there's plenty of back and forth action, plenty of ability showcased between the two and from the two. And very minimum outside interference, if any at all. And I think that was very unique. It was just you had the respective teams out there cheering their partners on, and I think that was great. And Woods took the victory clean with a top rope elbow, and that still also kind of is a little weird, but I'm okay with it. And so this match gets an up for me because this is probably the best match of the night in my opinion. Then we have the. Oh, I take that back. This next match is the best match ever. It's the 6 woman tag team match. Just kidding about that. But we saw the welcoming committee officially, or I don't think they're really back together, but they called themselves the welcoming committee again. And this was Carmella, Natalia, and Tamina versus the Riot Squad. And the Squad actually took the victory for this one. And I've been saying for weeks that whenever the Riot Squad debuted, they made them look really a lot like Absolution on Raw, but it seems like the Riot Squad can't make up hardly any victories, and it's hard to tell why whenever you have such great talent in these 3 women. Sarcasm, by the way, because they kind of suck. But it is nice to at least see them pull off some victory before the Royal Rumble. And they need to look a little more dominant if you're going to build them up as what I feel like they started out building them up as. Their credibility has sort of diminished since then. But whatever, the Riot Squad took the victory, and then they announced that they would be in the Royal Rumble match. Yay! And then Charlotte came out and was talking about herself fighting, whatever. And Naomi came out, and then we had the return of Becky Lynch, and this was really nice. I'm glad to see her back. We haven't seen her since Riot Squad actually took her out on their debut night. Um, so glad to see her back. And I don't know what this sets up. I mean, I'm guessing it sets up a match between Charlotte, Naomi, and Becky Lynch versus the Riot Squad. If they didn't announce that, if they announced it, I missed it. But if not, I'm sure that's what it sets up for. And so that'll be interesting, I guess. I don't know. I just want to see the Riot Squad get better, and then I feel like I would enjoy seeing these matches more. But honestly, you are not just the Riot Squad, but on the other side, you had Carmella and Tamina. Tamina has absolutely no enthusiasm and just hardly any wrestling ability whatsoever. Carmella, she's all right in the ring, and Natalia is pretty good in the ring. Just annoying character. But anyway, this match gets an up simply because mainly the post match stuff. Honestly, like I'm glad the Riot Squad got the win, and I'm glad that Becky Lynch is back. So that's really why it gets an up. Other than that, mediocre match and segments. But then we have the main event, which saw AJ Styles up against Sami Zayn with the entire world and their mama, which I guess would be still the entire world, at ringside. And of course, as predicted, this match was kind of a mess with so much going on outside that you have AJ Styles and you have Sami Zayn, and I get the point of this match was not to show the athleticism and the ability between these two, unfortunately, because these two are very athletic. These two are very good in the ring. And I think they could have showcased that. But the point, obviously, was not to do that. Even though they did get their fair share of back and forth and the special moments. But the main storyline was the tension between Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon. But then I go back to what I was talking about earlier about this being booked totally wrong. Why is it that Shane McMahon can lay his hands on Kevin Owens and it be just fine? I don't understand this. And why Kevin Owens was basically doing nothing. I mean, I get it that he was being a heel and he was keeping the referee from getting back into the ring to count Sami Zayn out, but it gave no reason for Shane to throw his weight around too. But then Daniel Bryan again came in looking like he was the mediator, looks like he was trying to fight for fairness and equality because he said if Kevin Owens, who interrupted the match, what needs to be thrown to the back, then Shane McMahon, who also interrupted the match, needs to be thrown to the back. He's trying to make it fair. So if you're booking Daniel Bryan to be the heel, you're doing it totally wrong because I stand behind Daniel Bryan. And so does Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. So I guess that doesn't really help his case for being a face or a heel. But anyway, so Kevin Owens did distract the referee as he was being sent to the back. And it helped Zayn hit the haluva kick for the pinfall victory. And I'm okay with this because it sets up the announcement for a handicap match at the Royal Rumble for the WWE Championship match, for the WWE Championship between Styles and Owens on one side, or Owens and Zayn on one side versus the champion Styles. And this is going to be interesting. And I hope they kind of discuss what's going to happen if Zayn and Owens wins to make it look more like it might be more possible. So we'll see what that looks like. I'm kind of interested in that match. And as if the odds aren't stacked up against Styles, I feel like this has a lot that'll be able to play out, and we'll be able to showcase a lot between the three guys. But this match and everything about it gets an up. I guess everything except Shane McMahon gets an up for that. But I'm not going to give a special down to him. I'm done talking about him. In fact, this wraps up SmackDown. That's what we end on. And as you can see, the ups are dominated. Well, not dominated, but they won 4-2. And it was just honestly disappointing. Like, I wish they had done better, but we'll see. We're building up to the Royal Rumble, and not every SmackDown is going to be fantastic. I get that, but like this is supposed to be like bringing in the new year. Maybe my expectations were too high. We'll see about the build up to Royal Rumble when we return back next week for the Raw Rundown and Smackdown Survey, and of course we have other videos that will be coming up. And since a Royal Rumble is coming up soon, we'll have those videos coming up later on in the month. But stay tuned for our Raw Rundown and SmackDown Survey by hitting that subscribe button if you haven't already, and get alerts for when we upload. And also hit the like button if you like this video, or comment below if you disagreed with anything, or if you thought I was right about something, or if I missed something and you feel like that should be added. There were obviously some smaller interviews that went on, but just leave those comments below. And with that, I will see you guys next week. Peace.